because at this point, this expert, this person, this associate dean that I'm looking at as a person to look up to is telling me I'm not good enough, so I must not be good enough. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. My name is Courtney and I am currently a fourth year veterinary medical student, and I am almost finished with my veterinary school career, and I'll be graduating next May. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be opening up about a story that basically almost had me not become a doctor. This experience hit me hard and I almost gave up because of a few, very few words that this one person gave me, and he almost changed my life forever. So I was a junior in high school and I was on the path to becoming a veterinarian. I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian since I was a little girl. I have loved animals, I loved science, I loved math, and my 7th grade science teacher, kind of put all my passions and love for like math and science together, and he was like, hey, like, you really should pursue veterinary medicine. And I already, as a little kid, like a lot of other kids, you're considering vet med because you love animals and you think that would be a cool career when you grow up. So that was always the career that I was telling people that I would do when I grew up. I was really going for it. So go back to when this story began. When I was a junior in high school, I was on that pre-vet track. I was already going to veterinary camps. I had already been to 2 different veterinary camps, and I was already volunteering at animal shelters and applying for jobs and at animal hospitals. Like, I was on the path. I was making sure I was getting good grades. I was doing my research, and so it was getting to the time now where I needed to apply for undergrad school for my first 4 years of college, where I do my prerequisites to get into veterinary school. I had a college visit lined up for a school that I was so excited about, and just for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to mention the name of the school or the name of this person in this story, but I was headed to this university that I was so excited about. I was so interested in it, and they had such a great animal science program. And from all of my research on Google and finding things out about what I need to do to get to veterinary school, I saw that a lot of veterinary students had majored in animal science. And I was like, girl, you're going to college and you're going to major in animal science. And I knew I could major in anything else, but animal science is kind of something that stuck with me. And so I was headed to this university to go speak to the associate dean of the animal science department. And I was so excited. I had already emailed my materials, like my high school transcripts, my leadership positions, jobs I've held, volunteer work I've been doing, honor societies that I was on, where I wanted to go with my career, which was veterinary medicine. I had emailed all that in advance and had also printed all this stuff out and had it in a file with me for the meeting. I was prepared. I was ready. No one could tell me that I was not passionate and motivated to get this career. I was ready, just heading into undergrad for this. We drove to the school. It was a few hours drive from my home, and my little brother came and my 2 parents, and we drove to the university, and I was so excited the whole way. I was talking about it the entire time, telling my parents I was so excited to finally get this started. I had been working and saying I wanted to be a vet for a decade at that point, and I was so ready. So I was just so excited, you guys, like to even have the opportunity to speak to an associate dean of an animal science department, like just knowing that I was getting to that stepping stone to make my dreams come true. We get to the university and I have my file and we're waiting and we check in and they direct us to a conference room. And my family came, but you know, at this point in my life, you guys, I was somewhat of an introvert. I was very quiet around new people and strangers, and like I was not readily the person that put themselves out there in new situations. So I was super excited for this meeting, but I was also very nervous. So in the conference room, I sit at the end of the table and I see kind of where the dean would sit, and I tell my parents to sit all the way in the back, at the back of the conference table, so that they could be present, but I didn't want them to say anything. I didn't want them to be involved. I just wanted it to be a meeting really about me and this associate dean, and then I have the support system that my family that I have, you know, in the back to be there and say something if needed. We're sitting in there and we're waiting for the associate dean, and he walks in and, you know, he greets me, he greets my family in the back, and he sits down. And I did not even have the chance to say my name, to explain what my career goals were, to express what I've done so far, where I want to go. Like, there was no moment, chance, not a zip for me to say anything, because as soon as this man sat down, he says, "So I hear you're interested in veterinary medicine. This isn't the career for you." And y'all have to remember, like, at this point in my life, I'm an introvert, so like the Courtney now probably would have said something like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" Like asking a question, like trying to see where he's coming from. But the Courtney then internalized everything, and like I just didn't say anything. And he goes, "Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. You can't do that." He says veterinary medicine is so hard to get into, and it's so few students that get in each year, and it's just going to be too hard of a road for you. Like, it's going to be way too difficult for you to be able to accomplish. And I am at this point taken back. I knew vet med was a very difficult career to get into. There are so few veterinary schools in the United States, you guys. So few. When I was applying to veterinary school, and at this point in this story, there was like 28 going on like 30 veterinary schools in the United States. That's not even one veterinary school per state. So I knew it was hard to get into, because most veterinary school classes are like 80 to like 120 students. You know, that's not that many people each year getting into veterinary school in the United States. Granted, there's, you know, veterinary schools outside the states, like on the islands and, you know, internationally, but this man is just saying over and over to me that it's too hard. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to accomplish it. You're not going to be good enough. And so then he expands on it and he's like, "I just don't think veterinary medicine is for you. And I think you need to find a career that'll be much easier for you to be able to obtain." And in my head, I'm thinking, have you not seen my file? And part of me is like, he has to have read my emails. Like, he has to know, because I sent all that stuff over. And I'm like, man, he's seen all that stuff and he still thinks I'm not good enough. He still thinks that I can't do it. And at this point, you guys, I am holding back every part of me to not break down crying in front of this man, because at this point, I'm like, I'm giving up. Every second that goes by in this meeting, I'm giving up. I was letting go of my dream as this man was talking to me. And my parents are in the back of the room still. My brother's there. And you can see it all over my dad's face. And I'm trying not to look at them, because as soon as I look at my parents, I knew I was going to break down crying. And my dad speaks up and he says, "Have you seen her file?" And the man responds, "No." but I still know that she's not gonna be good enough, and I still know that she's not gonna make it. Like, vet med is not for her. She needs something easier. Like, maybe you should look into human medicine. And then that's when I kind of was like, what? Like, you think human medicine is easy? Like, maybe it's easier because there's more schools, or you know, there's more opportunities, more slots each year to get in, but it's not an easy career to get into. So at this point, I'm like, this man, one, has just destroyed my dreams, and now I need to pick a different career. Like, this is literally what I'm thinking. Like, you're not good enough, Courtney. You need to pick a different career. And second, like, I'm thinking, okay, he's crazy thinking that human medicine is easy, because it's not. But he's basically just saying, like, you need a plan B. Human medicine would be a good option. But overall, you just need a plan B, because plan A, aka becoming a veterinarian, it ain't gonna happen. You know, my mom's kind of giving me this look like, speak. Because y'all, like, I was so quiet. I was internalizing everything. And like, you know, my mom wanted me to say something. She wanted me to defend myself. I did end up speaking up, and I said, well, maybe I can major in zoology instead of animal science, because, you know, he kind of was getting on the page as well that, like, the animal science degree is super hard as well. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do zoology. Like, what do you think about me pursuing zoology to then get into veterinary school? And he goes, yeah, no, that's gonna be too hard for you as well. I'm already in my head thinking, okay, maybe you can become a dentist. Maybe you can be a teacher. Maybe you can, like, be a zookeeper. Like, I'm literally thinking of all these things that have little math, science, maybe animals involved, that I can do instead. Because at this point, this expert, this person, this associate dean that I'm looking at as a person to look up to, is telling me I'm not good enough, so I must not be good enough, so I must need to find something else. Like, that is where my headspace was. As messed up as it was, that's where I was. I was already listening to him because he was such a man of, like, high caliber, that I was like, all right, that's it. So at this point, you guys, you know, the meeting, you know, all this has just basically happened within a 10-minute period. I was just kind of stunned, and at this point and at this age in my life, I was not thinking where my parents were thinking. At this age in high school, like, I was surrounded by a lot of people that looked like me, but also a lot of people that didn't look like me, and I've never felt racism pushed on me, like, ever. So in this situation, my mind wasn't even going that way. But looking back on it now, there was nothing else for him to judge me on other than the way that I looked. And if you guys don't know, veterinary medicine is 2% African American. It is not diverse whatsoever. Even currently, right now that I'm in vet school, I'm the only one that looks like me in my class. And I can tell you that there's not much faculty that looks like me either in my school. So it almost seems like, looking back on it, this dean pushed that fact, that statistic of there not being that many people of color in veterinary medicine onto me as to why I would never make it, because there's just not many that look like me in this career. So yeah, the associate dean had left. I am full speed ahead, running out of this building and towards the car. I didn't even want to see the campus anymore. I was so turned off. My mom pulls me aside before we even get in the car to drive a few hours back home, and she says, why are you upset? Like, what are you thinking? And I said, I'm thinking I'm never gonna become a veterinarian. I'm thinking I'm not good enough. I'm thinking that everything that this man says is right, and I need to find a new career. And my mom goes, no, hold up. Don't let anybody crush your dreams, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not good enough. She's like, if you want to become a veterinarian, you will, and you can. She said you should still try, because there's no harm in trying, and you know that you want to be a veterinarian, so you need to go for it. Fast forward to now. As you guys can see, I'm in my 4th and final year of veterinary school, and I so wish, you guys, I so wish I knew where this man was today, because I would go up to him and say to his face, hey, I'm that girl that you told would never become a veterinarian, would never get into veterinary school, and would never even survive an animal science major, an animal science degree. I'm that one that you told was not good enough. You never knew anything about me. You didn't look at my grades, you didn't look at anything, but you told me I wasn't good enough. And hey, guess what? I went to university, I got a degree in zoology, graduated with honors in 4 years. I got into veterinary school, and I got in a year early in a veterinary scholars pathway. I'm in vet school now, and I did pretty well as far as my grades. I held multiple in-hospital jobs throughout school, leadership positions, representative positions for companies, and now I'm in my final year, and I'm graduating in like 10 months, and I'm on the track to becoming an emergency veterinarian. I wish I could say that to his face now and ask him what he has to say for himself, because on what basis did you think I wasn't good enough? And if I would have listened to him, I wouldn't be sitting before you guys today with this story, with this testimony, to tell you to not listen to these haters. Do not listen to these fools who think that y'all aren't good enough, because you are good enough. You're good enough for anything that you want to set your mind to. Anything that you set your own mind to, you will do. So big takeaways for this video, for this story, this experience of mine that I now live with, and I hope that you guys that are listening to this will live with. Number one, don't ever let anyone tell you that you're not good enough. Number two, don't let anybody stray you away from your dreams. Unless God is coming down and telling you himself that this isn't the path for you, I honestly don't want to hear it, because that's something that I almost did, and it would have ruined my life, because I would not be here today. And number three, which is something I live by every day now, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. For example, that was me with this YouTube channel. If I would have never made this channel, you know, I would have missed that opportunity, because I wouldn't have gone for it. If I would have not applied to veterinary school because this man told me I wasn't good enough, I wouldn't be sitting before you today months away from becoming a veterinarian. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So take every shot, and if you miss, you miss, but at least you tried, and at least you went for it. I guess my last takeaway is that the only other thing that will help you get there is a support system. Because honestly, in that experience, if my dad and my mom were not there, I probably would have listened to this man, and I probably would not be sitting before you guys today as a veterinary student. I absolutely would have given up. If it weren't for my dad and my mom telling me that reinforcing that I am good enough, and that I should go for it, and that I should work hard, and I should prove the haters wrong. If it weren't for them, I may not have pushed myself to where I am today. You know, your support system can be anybody. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be a significant other, it could be a mentor. As long as you have somebody to back you up, you will make it. So yeah, you guys, that is it for this video. That's the end of this story. You heard my takeaways, and I will be here for anybody that has experienced something like this and needs somebody to support them, because Lord knows that's what I needed, and thankfully I had that in my parents. But if you feel like you still need somebody to support you, I'm here for you. Let me know in the comments if something like this has ever happened to you. I'm here for you. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in my next one.